Hello friends, welcome to Programming Concepts. My name is Amit and this is part 38 of ASP.NET Core MVC tutorial. In this video, we will talk about what are areas in .NET Core MVC. This is continuation to part 37, Anchor Tag Helper Attributes in .NET Core MVC. So please watch it before proceeding to this one. I shared the link in the description. First of all, let's read the definition from Microsoft. Areas are an ASP.NET feature used to organize related functionality into a group as a separate namespace for routing, folder structure for views and razor pages. Using areas creates a hierarchy for the purpose of routing by adding another route parameter, area, to the controller, an action, or a razor page. Let's understand what that means, what Microsoft is trying to achieve with areas. If you see in our existing project, we are creating functionality to manage employee. So basically employee management portal kind of thing. To achieve this, we created controllers, views, models, and other stuff like routing, separate layout, view imports, etc. Now let's say we have a new requirement where we need to provide functionality for blocks. Now to implement this, we require a controller, views, and models. But if you imagine the block functionality, it is a separate app or feature in itself. So instead of creating its controller and other stuff within existing folder structure, make your project complicated in long run. Areas provide a way to partition an ASP.NET Core web app into smaller functional groups, each with its own set of razor pages, controller, views, and models. An area is effectively a structure inside an app. In an ASP.NET Core web project, logical components like pages, model, controllers, and view are kept in different folders. The ASP.NET Core runtime uses naming convention to create the relationship between these components. For a large app, it may be advantageous to partition the app into separate high-level areas of functionalities. Alright, enough theory. Let's see how to use area in our project. Let's get back to Visual Studio and we need to implement blocks. So first, create a new folder and name it areas. Then, within this folder, we need to create area for our block. But before that, let's see another important thing. Just right-click on any other folder, let's say on controller, click on add, and you can see the option to create area is not available. Now, right-click on areas, click on add, and you can see the option to create an area is at the top. So on normal folder, you won't get this option, but on folder with name areas, Visual Studio recognize that we are going to use this folder for what purpose. Alright, click on it, select MVC area, and let's name it blocks. First, it will updating dependency information. Then it will apply scaffolding and will generate folder structure for us. It also generates scaffolding readme.txt file for us. Let's read the content. Scaffolding has generated all the files and added the required dependencies. However, the application startup code, which is startup.cs class, may require additional changes for things to work end-to-end. Add the following code to the configure method in your application's startup class if not already done. It clearly says files and required dependencies have been added, but we need to make few more changes. And it will provide a sample route on how to create routes for areas. We'll cover them in just a bit. First, let's have a look at the folder it has created for us. So in Solution Explorer, you can see it generated 4 folders for us, of which we are already aware of. Those are model, view, controller, and data. Let's quickly create one controller for block. So right click, add controller, select MVC-controller-empty and click on Add. Leave the name as Home Controller and click on Add. Let's add a view as well. So right click on Index, Add View, and then select Razor View Empty and click on Add, and leave the name as it is and click on Add. Let's specify the message, say within H1 message from index view, comma home controller and blog area. So till now we just created a new area and named it blocks and created a controller and view. If you look at our startup.cs class, you can see that we already configured our routes to find the controller and action method. So if I run this application and navigate to home/index, then it should find our controller and work without any issue, right? Let's see that. Let's run the program. Navigate to home/index. Oops, exception. Application not able to find the view, and if you look at the location it is searching, it is in root view folder. So to overcome this, let's specify the absolute path of our view. Stop the application and while returning view, specify tilde sign for root / areas / blocks / views / home / index.cshtml, and let's run the program. Navigate to home/index and working as expected, but absolute path not worth it because we may have same controller and action method in our root controller folder as well, because we will have different namespaces, right? Which can throw ambiguous match exception at runtime, right? Try it by yourself. Let's try to achieve the same thing with the help of areas. Next, we need to prepare our middleware and routes in such a way that our application can find these areas. Let's go to startup.cs class. Just copy and paste the existing route. Change the name from default to areas. Within pattern, just append area:exist within curly braces, which means if first placeholder in URL match with area, then this route will execute. Otherwise, this route will be skipped and our default route will execute. Simple. Next, we need to decorate our controller with area attribute. Let's go to home controller. So area within square bracket. And you can see it accept area name as an input parameter. Let's give blocks as an area name. And let's run the program. Now, if we follow our routing pattern for our areas, it first required an area name which is blocks, then controller which is home, and finally action which is index. Press enter and you can see working as expected. In this way, we can have a controller with same name in the areas folder as well as in root controller folder. And because of the routes, it will not conflict with each other. All right. And finally, how can we use areas with our anchor element? Let's see that. Let's go to the layout page. Copy and paste li element. Change ASP controller to home. ASP action to index. Text to blocks. And finally, use ASP-area. And our area name is blocks. Save and navigate to our default page. And click on blocks and working as expected. All right, let's get back to our slide and summarize what we had done so far. Consider using areas in a project when the app is made of multiple high-level functional components that can be logically separated. You want to partition the app so that each functional area can be worked on independently. And these steps we had performed so far. We created a folder structure for areas where scaffolding has been applied. Then we prepare routes in our middleware. And we use area attribute in our controller. And finally used anchor tag helper attribute for navigation. So basically separation of concern. You can also create a separate layout page and view start page for each area. Explore these things by yourself by creating and calling these pages. Alright then, that's it in this video. If you have any queries related to the content of this video, do ask me in comments. Till then, thanks for watching.